Hey everyone, so this video is strictly about content. The last video had to do with where you have your quiet time, the time of day, and then making sure you have all your supplies in place. This video is only about content. Knowing ahead of time what you're going to do in your quiet time is really important. So for example, I don't just say, okay, I'm going to spend time with God, and I open my Bible and I'm like, let's read here. What you want to do is you want to have kind of a plan in place, some sort of reading plan in place. So let me just tell you right now, like what I'm doing currently in this season for my quiet time. In this season, I am reading the One-Year Bible. The One-Year Bible has a New Testament reading, an Old Testament reading, a Psalm, and a Proverb. I have been doing this since last February and I love it. This is, and I'm going to do a video strictly on this. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. But this is my content for what I'm doing when I spend time with God is I go to whatever the day is and I start reading. And, you know, this is when God meets with you, is having this prepared content. And so right now I'm doing the One-Year Bible as pretty much my quiet time. You know, for my Bible study, I am in Bible Study Fellowship right now, which I love Bible Study Fellowship. I highly recommend Bible Study Fellowship. That's probably another video. But, you know, that's when I use this Bible. And then, of course, when I'm studying to go speak somewhere, that's my Bible that I typically use. But for quiet time purposes, you want to have your content prepared. So behind me, well, let me show you my basket first. In my basket, I have devotionals. And so I have several devotionals that I really enjoy reading. One is called Magnificent Prayer. It's really short. So in addition to the One-Year Bible, I also will do this. I also love Daily Light. This other little book called, it's just a book, a compilation of scriptures, but it has a date, like April 3rd, and then it has the date, you know, and I read the content for that day. And so it's real important to have a reading plan. I want you to take a look at my bookshelf. I love my bookshelf. My bookshelf, I have been accumulating these books over the last 20 years, and I have not read all of them, but I do have them organized. And so I would love to make some recommendations because some of these books, I have used these books in my quiet time. These books are full of scripture. I take notes on what is jumping out at me as I'm reading. And so yeah, let me share with you some of the stuff. Up in this corner, I've got devotionals that I've read in the past. Some of my favorites. Last year, I got this one, The Book of Mysteries. I really enjoyed that. Anyway, these are just daily devotionals. And if you're just getting started in your quiet time, I would recommend a daily devotional of some kind, just to get your feet wet in the process. Next, I've got all of Anne Graham Lotz up here. She is one of my favorite. And love her books. Her books, she brings revival to my heart just when I read her material. And so anyway, I've got her books right up here. I've got marriage, anything on marriage right here. I've got parenting over here. I've got womanhood right here. I've got extra Bibles right there. I've got prayer here. And then I've got stuff that's written by men down here. I don't mean that with any disrespect, just it's kind of funny. Recently I read this book called Not God Enough by J.D. Greear. That was a really good book. I used that for part of my quiet time last summer. But anyway, these are just past Bible studies that I've done. But yeah, I've accumulated these books over the last 20 years. And so maybe you have books at home. And a lot of times when somebody gives me a book, I might not read it in that season, but what I have found is maybe a season or two later, I put it up on my shelf and God brings me to that book because during that season, that's the book He really wants me to kind of be in. And so anyway, that's kind of how I look at books. So as you think about spending time with God, I would encourage you obviously to have a Bible and then have some kind of material that you know you're going to use on a regular basis. And typically it's something that you'll enjoy reading, something that you'll look forward to getting into. When I began to really enjoy my quiet time, I was reading books on marriage. My marriage was a mess. And I happened to be in the book of John, and a good friend of mine gave me a book on marriage, and it was full of scripture. And so I just began taking notes on it. You know, I would read 5 or 6 pages in my quiet time and just really, you know, contemplate what, you know, I was learning. And anyway, that's just kind of the season that I was in. So what season are you in? You know, where is God wanting to lead you? If you need some help in terms of me making some suggestions, I'm happy to make suggestions. But take a look. If you have any books that anyone has given you and they're on your shelf, maybe it's just 2 or 3 books. Y'all, that's all I started with originally, was just 2 or 3 books. Go to some of those books and see if something quickens in your heart that, yeah, I want to read that, because that might help me right now with what's going on in my life right now. And so, yeah, content. Content is important, because that's what preempts you to really begin to hear from God on a regular basis. And that's how you hear God speak. And that'll be our next video. So prepare your content. Go ahead right now and be preparing. What are you going to do content-wise? Okay, I'll see you next video.